everyone, it's me, Noah Meehan of the Arc of Truth, and before I start this video, I would like to apologize in advance for not making videos for the last couple of weeks. I've just been busy trying to potentially get a new job. I'm actually thinking about going into and customs enforcement, or maybe working with one of the military departments, so yeah, wish me luck, and let's just hope by in November there's a new change of management. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And also, I've been trying to make some new changes to my channel, although I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be just like that. I'm planning on doing it over time. Probably get someone to animate my intro and outro much better than I ever would. And I've even went so far as to get a new gaming mixer, the Fifini gaming mixer from Amazon, and I even got a Mono, if that's how I'm pronouncing it, XLR dynamic microphone. The problem is that for some reason everything is all connected. The mic is supposedly receiving audio, but every time when I play a video, no dice. I cannot hear anything. I even checked to see if the mic was muted, and it wasn't. So I don't know when, but for the time being, I'm gonna stick with my old mic and see how that works out. If you guys have any idea of what I can do in order to fix that, please let me know. You guys would be a lifesaver. Now, onto the video. Kamala Harris is in and Joe Biden is out. That's honestly not too much of a surprise, because that's been at least a week old, and I know. But I also want to understand that there's been a supposed surge for Kamala Harris and her support. Obviously, we're seeing that somewhat in the polls, and we're even seeing a higher favorability for her as vice president, despite the fact that she has constantly polled at within the lower 30s, if I'm being generous. And this was before she kicked out Joe Biden as the presumptive nominee. Now, I just want to understand something. I've actually made a YouTube short in regards to this, and I said that she was in her honeymoon phase. I was wrong. It's not a honeymoon phase, it's a sugar rush, and there is a lot of astroturfing involved as well. In fact, I think I'll probably make the astroturfing as another video. There's a lot I should talk about with Kamala Harris. But for right now, Donald Trump's lead has narrowed. Back when it was Joe Biden in the general election polls in Real Clear Politics, he was up by 3. Donald Trump is ahead by 1. Maybe even a little bit more. Here's the problem with that. 1, he's still winning. And number 2, I've actually heard this from Real American, and if you want to see his videos, I'll put his link down in the description down below. And I'm just a recent subscriber to him. But he mentioned that in historical events such as, say, the DNC, the nomination, whatever, and I would argue that Harris replacing Joe Biden is definitely a major thing. There is a massive bump in support. And again, that does not really surprise me. It kind of shows that Republicans or Democrats are more and more likely to be supportive of that candidate, even if it is someone as unpopular and weak as Kamala Harris. But there's also another thing that people need to understand. She is not as well known as a lot of people think. She has been typically behind the scenes in regards to Joe Biden and his administration. And even when she's out there, such as being the border czar, and yes, before anyone tries to fact check me, she was the border czar. She was put in charge by Joe Biden to look at the border, to fix the border, and she completely fucked it all up. Somehow, she made it worse by doing fuck all nothing. she basically just decided, screw this, I'm not going to deal with that. And at the very minimum, when she was actually supposedly doing stuff, I remember her going to an airport in El Paso, getting out of her airplane for the vice president, and just making a quick speech, and did a little bit of photo op, and just left. She didn't even go to the border itself. She didn't go to the border wall. She did not do anything. And there's a reason why a lot of people, especially within the border states, despise Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But again, she has remained behind the scenes. Joe Biden is the one taking the flak, which understandably so. He's the one who's our supposed president. But now with Kamala Harris, no one really knows too much about her, and I'm pretty sure a lot of her record is going to be out there in force. And I'm not just talking about her time as vice president, I'm also talking about her time as a senator and attorney general. And that's going to come back to bite her in the ass. Now, back to the polling. Right now, in this election cycle, there has been a massive polling shift in comparison to 2020. Donald Trump not only is leaning, and especially in the case of Kamala Harris, by a little over 1 point, it was a massive, it's a 5-point shift comparing 2024 to 2020. That is a big shift, believe it or not. And before Biden dropped out of the race, he was at 45%. While Donald Trump has maintained his lead even after Biden left. He has maintained his standing of around 47 or 48%. Right around there, and that's a pretty good number. As long as he keeps that, it's probable that he may actually win the popular vote. Maybe, and of course, that could translate into the Electoral College, which by the way, is what he needs to win. Harris is currently gaining about 46%, maybe 45. She's only gained a slightly larger bump in comparison to Joe Biden. Again, because she's been behind the scenes and no one knows too much about her. This so far is probably the best that Harris is going to get. And now that she's beginning to campaign, and I just don't think that she's going to, just by the fact of her previous rally in Atlanta, where she had to get Megan Thee Stallion. Oh my god, that was just so bad. That's going to be in another video, and I'm definitely going to be talking about that in full. But Donald Trump is still leading, in spite of the fact that this is right now, and this is probably going to be the best that Kamala Harris is going to get. And that's not taking account with the potential polling miss. Because back in 2016 and 2020, there was a miss about how much Donald Trump gained in the popular vote. Originally, in fact, the polling miss was so great, it was between 1 to possibly even 3% back in both 2016 and 2020, respectively. That is big. It means that, in reality, Donald Trump may not be ahead of Harris by 1. He could be ahead by 2, potentially even 4%. And that puts him over 50%. There is absolutely no way that Kamala Harris would be able to win the popular vote. And this is with the polling miss. Now, I don't know how big it is, but I do know that it's probably going to happen again. It happened in 2016. It happened in 2020. I would not be surprised if it happens again. And I'm going to be conservative. I would not be surprised if it's just by 1 point. But even then, that's still good news for Donald Trump. Harris, in order to be able to win the popular vote and maybe even have a chance at the Electoral College, she would need to be up by 6. 6 points. That way she would be able to take into account with the polling miss, as well as the current amount of support that Donald Trump has. Which, by the way, I would like to mention, I'm pretty sure there are no Trump supporters that have suddenly switched to Kamala Harris. I am calling bullshit on that. And even if there are, I would say that there are very, very few number that would not make any difference, and that or that maybe many of them were never Trump Republicans in the first place. So if they were never Trumpers in the first place, I wouldn't say they would actually count. But, oh my God. Right now, Kamala Harris is in a bad situation. She is on the defensive, believe it or not. She has to keep the Rust Belt states. She needs to keep Pennsylvania. She needs to keep Michigan. She needs to win Wisconsin. And of course, she has to keep Minnesota. Although, it's possible it could turn swing state again if she chooses Josh Shapiro. Again, make another video on that. The thing I can say is that Donald Trump can be able to lose certain ground. He can be able to lose Michigan. He can be able to lose Wisconsin. He can be able to lose Nevada and Georgia. If he somehow loses Georgia, which is unlikely, he can still win. Harris has very small paths to victory. And by that logic, I don't expect her to win. Is it possible? There's always a possibility. But right now, Donald Trump, believe it or not, is the favorite. And over time, as people try to understand Harris, as well as her personality, as well as her record, I am pretty certain that the polling will go downwards from here. Maybe that could probably happen on August 20th, when she has to accept the nomination, and if it's going to be similar to the RNC of this year. Let's hope so. And if it's not going to be in August 20th, it's certainly going to be sometime in September, with the debate going on. I am pretty certain, in my opinion, I believe that Kamala Harris will not win, and we're only seeing her supposedly catching up at this very moment in time. This is going to be the best that she'll ever get. My name is Omi Han, the Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, and subscribe. And if you have any improvements that I should make about my channel, please post them in the comment section down below or directly message me. Thank you.